Guys, thanks for watching FlipCast, and today I'm joined by Logan Rebholz. He works on Diskotek titles. You may not know his name, but he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So, Logan, first off, how did you get involved with Diskotek?
So, kind of a long-ish story. A few years before I got started with Diskotek, when AnimEigo first started doing their Kickstarter campaigns, they started out with Bubblegum Crisis.
Yep.
And shortly before the set was about to ship, both myself and my friend Mark, who's now one of our quality control guys at Diskotek, he kind of had tagged Robert Woodhead and said, hey, this comic you're including with the set, the scans kind of don't look so great. Is there anything you can do, or can we help out? And Robert had kind of pioneered that whole crowd production thing where he was bringing in fans to kind of help out with making the set better, because like he said, who's going to care more about the set than the fans that are going to be watching it in the first place?
Yeah.
So Robert told Mark, he said, hey, I got to set this thing out in 48 hours. So if you can turn it around in 48 hours, do it. So of course, Mark comes to me and says, we've got, a 160-page comic. How fast can we do this? I said, give me half of it. Let's do this. So we kind of went through and, re-leveled the colors and just kind of, slammed it out. And so shortly thereafter, when Robert launched the Otaku no Video project, he was looking for more people, and we said, hey, let's do this again. So the both of us got involved with that. Mark kind of fell off to the side for a little bit because he was moving and, some things happened for him, but I got involved with doing subtitle checking and art cleanup and all kinds of stuff for it. And when that project was coming to an end, Robert came to me and one other person on the team, her name's Sasha, and said, hey, I got good news and bad news for the Writing Beam project. Said the the bad news is you guys aren't going to be volunteering on the next project. And we're both sitting there thinking, we're like, did we do something wrong? Like what happened? He said, no, the reason is you guys are going to be working on the next project as paid professionals.
That's awesome.
And it was like, wow, it was a huge ego boost, to be honest, And so basically, we're working on that. Well, while we were working on the Writing Beam project, a friend of mine on Twitter pointed out that Justin, the big, Blu-ray guru for Diskotek, was looking for somebody to do quality control. And he said, hey, I don't know if you're interested. And I said, well, what the heck? I'll throw my hat in the ring, and messaged him. I said, I've done some of this work for AnimEigo, and because I happened to tag Robert's account in the tweet when I mentioned it to Justin, Robert popped in and said, hey, yeah, Logan would be great for this, and really gave me a good word of confidence.
Awesome.
And so Justin emailed me and said, hey, let's do this, and so I started out doing quality control and did that for, I want to say it was probably about 8 months or so. And then Justin had pointed out, he said, you're really good at catching all the proofreading, errors and stuff in the subtitles. And he said, do you want to work on the subtitles? Because that seems to be, where your passion kind of lies. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And so I got bumped up to doing mostly subtitles with kind of, some of the quality control as a secondary thing. And then when we were looking for somebody kind of to replace me, I brought Mark back in the fold and said, hey, he's got a hell of an eye for detail. So, give him a shot. And so kind of all came full circle for both me and him.
So what was the first project you worked on for Diskotek?
So the first project for Diskotek, funny enough, it's sort of an anime. It was the Wizard of Oz, the American dub. The one that had Margot Kidder doing the
was that the DVD
narration.
version, or was that the Blu-ray version?
No, that was the SD Blu-ray. So
okay.
I think that was only the third or fourth SD BD that Diskotek had done.
I think my set is on that shelf right there. I'm trying to right now, if you guys notice there's a mess behind me, it's because I'm reorganizing shelves by publishers, and I got my Dark Horse manga shelf, and then I'm doing a Diskotek shelf. Because nice. Diskotek's my favorite company. You guys put out incredible work. Everyone I've talked to on the team is just so fucking nice. Like, you guys are just incredibly nice, incredibly passionate people. Justin is amazing, and I can tell right now, me and you are just gonna become best friends. Because are those Common Rider bottles behind you?
Yes, those are the entire Build bottle set.
Oh man.
From,
oh my god, that's
all
so
60 bottles from Build.
Build is probably my favorite Common Rider in the last couple of years.
See, Drive is mine, but if you look at my Twitter, that's kind of obvious. It's sort of the header, but yeah.
Dude, I'm praying that like someone picks up Common Rider just like Mill Creek did with Ultraman.
I would absolutely love it. I mean, it's such a popular franchise, and I was noticing the other day, Bluefin is releasing the figure art for 01, and they're sitting there, they're like, hey, how's everybody enjoying 01? And it's like, it's in the back of my head. I'm sitting there thinking, you're asking us how we're enjoying it. We can't even watch it. You're bringing the merchandise over for something that we can't even watch here.
So speaking
the only way that any of us are watching it is we have to admit that we're watching it
illegally. Yeah.
Fan subs. I mean,
how do you like?
Sucks, but...
How are you liking 01 right now?
So here's the thing. See, I'm bad about keeping up with the currently running shows.
I am too, man. With anime, with anything, I'm terrible.
Well, between between work and the thing is, I'm such a video quality whore that because I import the Blu-rays myself. So I end up taking whatever fan subs are out there. There are other people that put the fan subs together onto Blu-rays. I put them all together onto my own, and
which is something I'm gonna start doing too. It's so expensive, man. Japanese Blu-rays are astronomically priced.
I budget out roughly. It's if you include the movies and whatnot, it's about $600 a year just to buy a Rider series.
Holy shit!
It's going to be a little easier starting with 01 because it used to be they released single volumes once a month. Then, as of Drive, they switched to 4 boxes a year. Now they're going to 3 boxes a year.
Okay,
so you'll get. I mean, the prices aren't going to change, but only having to drop, $160, $170 every 4 months. Yeah, it ends up being the same thing, but I don't know. For some reason, it just feels a little.
Where do you buy your driver boxes? Because I was looking at Mandarake. Is that one of the websites?
I was Mandarake. Yeah,
I was looking at them.
If you're looking for third party or older seasons, go there. That's the best way to go. If you're buying them new as they come out, Amazon Japan's the best way to go.
Yep. Which luckily translates everything to English.
Yeah,
which is amazing. But so let's get back to talking. See, I knew that we were going to talk about Kamen Rider right off the bat. But let's get back to Wizard of Oz is the first thing you work on.
Yeah, so that was the first title I worked on. First anime I actually worked on was right after that was Nia Under 7.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then what's been your favorite project?
Favorite project is probably going to be either Giant Robo, which is about to come out.
Oh man, I'm so excited. So excited.
That one, Kimagure Orange Road, because first disc release anywhere in the world of the high def version. The only other place that had it was Netflix in Japan. So that was really cool, and it's such a good show.
Yeah, it is.
And then the OVAs in the movie. I mean, it's just it's such a good show. Like I can't understate that.
It's a very good show.
And then for me, probably one of the biggest passion projects in a sense was the upcoming 4K Ultra HD disc for Space Adventure Cobra the movie.
Dude, so when I saw that announced, I don't even own a 4K Blu-ray player, but I have it pre-ordered because one, it's fucking reasonably priced too. Like I don't know how you guys are pricing that so cheap. Like it's like what, $35 maybe?
I think that's MSRP. I think Right Stuff. If I've got the God Anime because I buy so much stuff from them. I think it ends up being $22 or something like that.
Which is crazy.
Which I mean, I know it's part of it's because we're not including a Blu-ray with it, along with the 4K, like so many Hollywood movies would have you get. So I know that kind of cuts it down a little bit, but I don't know how we got it as down as far as we did for a boutique label, but Selby knows how to work his magic, and I just couldn't be more happy about it because I've got a 4K collection. I mean, I actually went through and cataloged it, and I've got 280 some odd 4K discs.
What? Oh, like just movies and shit, or
basically mostly movies. A handful of anime discs, but so I'm a big proponent for the 4K format, not because of 4K resolution, because especially with Hollywood movies, so many of them are upscaled from 2K versions because that's what they do the effects at. But the HDR that you get, it's so night and day.
When I first saw 4K without HDR, I thought it was like a decently noticeable difference. But then when you see HDR for the first time, that's the first time I was like, oh my god! Like going from VHS to DVD, I don't think there's been that kind of a leap until HDR. So right now, like, because we want to get a nice TV, the wife and I are holding off getting like a nice TV until we move into our new house. So that's what we're waiting on. But I still have that disc pre-ordered because, like I said, Diskotek's like I own a small mom and pop pizza place. And I like to try to support local businesses and small businesses. And you guys have that small business feel. Like, everyone's very personable. You guys are all very, like, social on Twitter. And you guys put out quality stuff. And I know, Cobra's amazing. Like, I know I'm going to love it. So once I see it on 4K for the first time, my eyes are going to pop out of my skull.
Well, and there's a feature on the disc, and I'm assuming it stayed on the disc. When I got to test it, it was there. And, I can't see any reason it's not going to still be there. There's a side-by-side comparison. It's about 4 or 5 minutes long, and it is one of the best demo reels just to show the difference in, SDR versus HDR. And, honestly, I almost would say to people, watch that first before you fire the movie up, just because then you'll go through the movie appreciating exactly what the difference is in the quality of just the colors. I mean, it just pops. I mean, there's no other way to describe it.
So as a fan, because you are like, I can tell you're a very passionate person about this stuff. As a fan, are you like just are you just like geeking out the whole time every time something gets announced and like way ahead of time, or like you're working on a project, or you just like, holy shit?
Well, see, that's what's funny is, I didn't realize how much your perspective would change on that kind of thing, because, that's exactly it. I've obviously been in those shoes because I've been an anime fan for, 25 years,
How old are you?
I'm 35.
You're 35. So yeah, you're a little bit older than me. Yeah, I thought that you were about my age, like 28.
Yeah, so it's like, the thing is, like I said, I've been there. I know every time, a show gets announced, it's like, oh, I've been waiting for this show. I mean, when Gundam X got announced on DVD, it's my favorite Gundam show. I'd been waiting so long for it, and to finally get that.
Is that getting a Blu-ray?
Well, it is getting a Blu-ray now. Yeah, this was when it first got the DVD. So, I'm just going crazy. I'm super excited. Now that I'm working on this stuff, the perspective changes in a sense that, yeah, okay, when something gets announced, yeah, sure, I've known about it for, who knows how long. I mean, I've seen stuff. I think Justin mentioned when you did your interview with him that, we've got a backlog, countless titles.
Yeah, he said he's got a backlog of 3 years.
Right.
Which is fucking nuts.
Yeah. And the thing is, I've seen that backlog. Like, I've seen the schedule and stuff that's on it. So, obviously I know a lot of stuff that's coming that I can't say anything about, which, but I guess where the excitement for me comes from now is when that stuff gets announced, seeing the reactions of the fans, in the shoes I used to be in, that's exciting for me now, is, getting that excitement from the fans and knowing that, even if I'm working on a title that I sit there and it's like, yeah, I've worked on stuff that I don't have any personal interest in. It's just, it's whatever. But knowing that there's somebody out there that's going to enjoy it is, that's what keeps me going and making sure I'm giving my all to every project, no matter if it interests me or not.
What's been the one thing that you did not like working on? That like you were just like, this is a grind, because you guys like for me personally, I don't mind like I actually like making pizzas, but there are food like I hate making garlic butter. It's like the one thing every time it's just a grind. Garlic bread. So like, what is like the one thing that you've worked on where you've had to watch over and over, where by the end you were just like, I want to be done?
So probably, I mean, as far as something that I really had to watch over and over and over was the first project I did any subtitles on, and that was the Barefoot Gen films.
Okay.
Because I did the subtitles on those, so I had to watch through them, make sure everything was good. That, you know, because that was the first project I did, I had to go really slow and, you know, make sure that everything was working within the constraints of, you know, the format for Blu-ray, and, you know, because there's all kinds of technical stuff behind that. And then when it came time, I had to do the quality check on the disc. So I had to watch the first movie another 2 times, to watch it once in English, once in Japanese. Had to watch the second movie. So, I mean, I'd watched it, you know, probably 8 times through altogether. So by the time I finally got to that, it was just like, okay, I'm finally done with this. I'm over it. Like, I will probably not watch these movies again for a very, very long time.
See, does the stuff, like, kind of like a similar question. Has there been something that you have loved, and then when you've had to work on it, you're like, I can't touch that for a couple months?
I mean, most everything I work on, because I'm watching it to some extent. You know, be it whether I'm doing quality checking or working on the subtitles, I'm watching the shows. So, you know, I mean, we you know, you and I talked about it on Twitter. I think it was yesterday. You know, we both got the October releases.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't want to watch Voltus 5 because I just watched to do quality checking a few months ago. So it's like, I have no desire to rewatch it right now. Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales. I'll probably watch that in a few weeks just because I want to watch it with the dub, because I only worked on the subs.
Okay.
You know, so most of the stuff, yeah, when I've worked on it, it's stuff that goes into the pile. Like, I buy it now, but it's stuff that I probably won't touch again for another couple of years.
This has been such a huge year for you guys. Like, you guys have put out, I think, some of the best stuff you guys have ever released ever has come out this year. And
it's been a good year.
It's been an incredible year. Like, Juspian, dude, my wife is so sick of Juspian. I've watched that. I think I started watching it again yesterday. So, like, for like the 4th time now, 4th or 5th time. Like, I fucking love that show. But you guys have put out Juspian, which is my release of the year of anything, just period. Like, that's the thing I've fell in love with the most. You guys put out Lupin the Third Part 4, the Italian adventure, which my family's from Italy, so watching that, I was like, cool. You guys, like, all the giant robot stuff you guys put out, you know, like, it's just, you guys, like, when I think of, like, my taste, like, as a fan of Japanese entertainment, you guys pretty much nail everything. You guys always put out something that's, like, kind of, you know, I've never heard of Ayakashi Samurai Tales, you know, but I picked it up and I'm probably gonna end up enjoying it. It's right there. So, and then, you know, of course, the Tokusatsu Message from Space just came out too, Voltus 5, and then, you know, the next couple months are probably the biggest months for you guys. The 4K Blu-ray, and then you guys got Giant Robo and the Galaxy Express.
Yeah.
Which is on Christmas. Which is fucking awesome. Which everything's already pre-ordered for me. Like, I have, like, every time pre-order links go up, like, no matter what, I support you guys and I buy, like, literally everything. I'm going through the back catalog and trying to pick up stuff I didn't have. Like, I didn't have Sayonara Jupiter, which I just picked up. I'm trying to think of what else. I finally got Giant Gorg. Because of that whole warehouse transition, that was out of stock on Right Stuff for, like, probably 4 months. And then they put it up on their eBay store finally. And I was like, yes, I finally got a copy of that and loved it. But you guys are just like, the perfect company in my eyes. And it's just, like, every time I talk to friends, everyone tells me to shut the fuck up about Diskotek. Which is pretty funny. Because right now I'm actually doing a video for my YouTube channel about my love for Diskotek. I actually messaged Justin to make sure I got some facts correct.
Nice.
Because I was like, you guys started in 2005, which is over a decade now, which is insane.
Yeah.
Which is fucking nuts. Almost 15 years. It's just,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, I've been with the company for, you know, 2.5 years. And I mean, it's, you know, it's funny because you kind of sit there and, you know, especially when I started doing the stuff for AnimEigo, you know, that was been almost 5 years, or a little over 5 years now. And it's like, you know, part of me was sitting there thinking, it's like, oh man, it'd be so cool to work for, you know, Funimation or Sentai. And, and then the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, man, I love Diskotek stuff. They've got so many things I like. And so, when it opened up, it's the company's run by such passionate people. I mean, it's a small staff. Selby, he most everything's contracted out. We're Justin mentioned it in one of his Answer Man articles a while back, and that's part of the reason the company works as well as it does. Is I work from home. We all work from home. There's no main office that we all have to go into or anything like that.
Which really cuts the cost of stuff down.
Right. It keeps the overhead down, and it's. I don't know. I think it's just, it's a lot of passionate people who, really, really have a love for the material,
And you guys have like a really awesome corner of the market, just like cornered. Like you guys are putting out retro stuff. You guys have a couple like big licenses like Lupin, City Hunters coming out next year.
Yeah.
You guys got some like big stuff, but you guys also are putting out like really like kind of like not well-known anime, and you guys are saving a bunch of stuff like Giant, just like Giant Robo. You guys saved that,
right?
But I can't think of another company that's like Diskotek right now. I mean, that's putting out consistent work, of course, and Robert over at AnimEigo's doing great work. They did Bubblegum Crisis, a Taco No Video, Megazone 23 recently.
Yeah.
So they're still doing that, but it's not like every month you're like, it seems like this year every month you're getting 2 to 3 Diskotek Blu-rays.
Oh yeah.
Which has just been fucking amazing as a fan. But there's no one else like that. Like when I think of like Funimation, I'm not big into like ongoing modern shonen. Viz, I mean, like I pick up the JoJo's box sets here and there.
Same.
And then Phoenix just came out on Blu-ray by Anime Works, right?
I think so, yeah.
Which is just so weird because they aren't a thing, and then just randomly that came out. And then Sentai I do like here and there. I mean, I'm grateful for the Legend of the Galactic Heroes box set, Armor Trooper Votons, some of the Sunrise stuff that they have. But man, it just seems like Diskotek is just, you guys have such an awesome corner of the market. And your guys' fans are dedicated.
Oh yeah.
You guys have some dedicated fans.
It's stuff. I mean, I think stuff like the SD Blu-rays have made such a world of difference because, this is again looking at it from the fan perspective. It's, when you can go and get one disc that's got an entire series on it for $30, $50, depending on the length of it. I mean, I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and I said, look at Fist of the North Star. You buy 3 box sets that are $60 a piece, or for $80 you get the SD BD, and you get 152 episodes on 3 discs. And so it's cost cutting, it's taking advantage of a superior format. You get nicer subtitles, you get a little bit better encoding, and it keeps the cost down, which means less cost for the fans is good, less cost for the production's good. It's just good all around.
Yeah, you guys are very fairly priced, because especially that Fist of the North Star Blu-ray. When I saw that it had all 152 or 53 episodes,
152, I think it is. Yeah.
And when that got announced, I was like, "Holy shit!" That's why I feel bad. Like just like we were talking at the very start, Kamen Rider Blu-rays, man. I feel bad for Japanese fans of anything because they're paying out the ass for anime and tokusatsu stuff, and then we get all of Jaspion on one disc, which is just so good.
I mean, I guess the biggest thing that's a difference there is because the rental market is still so alive in Japan.
Is it really?
Oh, absolutely. Because, and I don't know how accurate it is. I've heard it thrown around that it's because they have smaller apartments and smaller homes, so they don't have the room for all this media. That's why we don't see 5.1 mixes for a lot of Japanese stuff, because they don't have the space for these surround systems and stuff. So because the rental market's so thriving, the home media purchases are lower. So in order to break even, they have to increase the prices per unit. And so that's why 12 episodes cost you $150 versus over here we get 12 episodes and it's $10 or whatever.
I also read recently, I don't know if this is true, but I don't know where I read this, maybe Twitter, but like all the cost of toys and Blu-rays, they go right back into the tokusatsu shows. Like Like they help fund them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know obviously, if you look at the sales of, they'll come out and say, oh, the toys were down. I think I saw a tweet the other day that said the toys were down for Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger, but the disc sales were incredible. And so it's like, okay, Toei was doing good, but Bandai wasn't doing good, or I don't know how the financials on any of that stuff.
I'm really upset with the whole Hasbro situation because they put they put on hold the freaking Shout Factory DVDs, and oh man, I was so upset because I have them all, except for maybe one, but I can't really read the side of those from over there, but yeah, I like having those. Like I'm just glad that we got Jetman. I'm super grateful that we got Jetman, but. Man, dude, like looking into Super Sentai stuff because I've been watching the newest Super Sentai show, which I think it's definitely not as good as Kamen Rider.
I'm more of a Kamen Rider fan than I am Super Sentai, but I still like them both.
I like Flip Flop, so like I don't know what it is, but right now, I've been getting the Lightning Collection figures. Like I got the San Diego Comic-Con special ones. I'm not trying to go hog wild with the toys. I'm trying to keep it very small. I have like 8 Gunplas I haven't built yet. So I just like, and then I sliced the tip of my finger really bad at work. But like I've had this. I've had the HG Moon half built for like probably 3 months. So it just sits on my desk waiting to be built. But man, those Lightning Collection figures are so nice.
They really are. I've picked up a few of the I've got like the Lord Zed and a couple other ones, and I'm really impressed. I mean, I collected a lot of the figure arts Sentai stuff.
Oh man, dude, I am so tempted to get the SH figure arts of Juspian, but it is astronomically expensive for a single toy. Yeah. It's like $150, and I'm like, I love. Yeah,
that's one of those lines that if you don't catch them early on, then you often, at least with the main writers, you'll get a chance to grab like one reprint that they might do like a year or two later. But a lot of the secondaries and then other side stuff, like the Metal Heroes stuff, those are they're a pain to get.
And I'm so tempted to start buying Tokusatsu toys. Like I really want the 01 driver. I think that looks so good.
See, it's funny because that's the only one I haven't picked up. I've got all the drivers from Deno all the way through Zeo, and
I'm pretty sure my wife would kill me.
Right now all of mine are in a box because I'm rearranging my office, and so I don't have most of them on display. I mean, I've got my build driver.
No, dude, I freaking love the build driver.
Yeah, I've got that sitting on hand, and I think I've got the Waz driver.
So, I mean, we're both big children.
Yes.
So
I would say that is an accurate way of putting it. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things that, they always say at a certain point, oh, you're going to outgrow this. You're going to outgrow this. Well, yeah, okay. I've outgrown the need to run around the neighborhood wearing the thing on my waist, but I just like it for the collection aspect.
Honestly, I would totally wear it. I would totally wear it to work. Every time someone orders a pizza, just go, nice match. Just like, dude, 01 has been pretty good.
Yeah, I need to catch up with it. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so
I'm trying to like. So I used to like, this is a side thing, but I used to weigh 340 pounds, and I lost 130, and then my wife got pregnant, and then with having a baby, you gain weight. So I've gained some pounds back. So I've been making myself only watch Kamen Rider while I'm on the treadmill. And last night I got up to episode 6 out of 8 out so far, and I still don't like the main character. I just don't like him. But man, the fight scenes are great. The actual riders themselves are fantastic. I love the whole. I've seen people don't like it, but like where that monotone voice comes in, it's like a jump to the sky turns to a rider kick. Like, I fucking love that. It gets me so hyped. It gets me so hyped. Gets me so hyped. But Man, so how did you get into Kamen Rider? Because that is like for us in the States, the easy way to look at it is Power Rangers. You know, you watch Power Rangers, but like Kamen Rider is like kind of not like super far removed, but from an English speaking fan, it is kind of like out there. Like, how did you get into? Because you can kind of tell people, yeah, you know, Super Sentai is like Power Rangers are, you know, Super Sentai is Japanese Power Rangers but cooler. Right. Kamen Rider is bug people in suits fighting without the mechs. Like, there's no mechs, you know. So
like, well, I mean, obviously I remember the old Masked Rider series that they brought over, which, you know, the less said about that, the better, other than the fact that the Black RX suit is easily my favorite Showa era Rider suit. So, you know,
that is a good suit.
That came over, you know, promptly got forgotten by most everybody with the exception of that Power Rangers crossover at the beginning of season 3. You know, I watched Kamen Rider Dragon Knight when they aired that in, what was it, 2005 or whatever. You know, when it aired on CW and promptly got canceled.
That was awful.
Yeah, you know, it was. I like Ryuki better than the adaptation, but you know, but I got into Kamen Rider thanks to Super Sentai because when Gokaiger started airing, I hadn't been watching any Super Sentai, but somebody went, "Hey, look at this promo. It's, you know, 200 Power Rangers and their Japanese counterparts in this massive battle." And these pirate guys have all their powers. I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. I'm going to watch this. So I picked that up. Well, because of the
that's actually what got me stream banned. Nice. Someone sent me a clip, and I was live streaming on my YouTube channel, and literally within 13 seconds, stream was shut down. I didn't even play audio, and it was like a little corner picture. So they were quick to shut that down.
But yeah, so it was like, you know, because of the split scheduling where, you know, Rider stuff starts in like late summer, early fall, and Super Sentai starts in, you know, like February and March. So I picked up Gokaiger in February. Well, they were halfway through Kamen Rider O's, and I'd seen it, you know, going up on the same fan subbing site that was carrying Gokaiger. And so then when O's came to an end, obviously they picked up, you know, Forze started, and I went, oh, you know, what the heck, I'm enjoying this, I might as well watch this other show, and got into Forze, you know, started learning because it was the 40th anniversary. I'm like, okay, obviously there's all this past history with, you know, Kamen Rider and stuff. So I started jumping backwards, and I watched Double, which at that time became my favorite. You know, then went back and watched O's, started going back to the early Heisei stuff. You know, grabbed a few of the early Showa stuff, although, you know, a lot of that isn't subtitled. I picked up the V3 DVDs for, you know, $150, but
those are expensive. Those are on my list because those are the only officially licensed ones, right? So how did that? Because that company only has that and one other Tokusatsu show, right?
Because the company's Generation Kikaida, so they had that originally. They did get the Kikaida reboot film. But yeah, that's all they have. And, you know, my assumption is because it's one of those things where they seem like they have a perpetual license. I've always kind of assumed it was a lot like World Events Productions and their whole, you know, license with Voltron. You know, they got the rights early on from Toei, and, you know, Toei was just like, yeah, whatever, we'll you know, here it is in perpetuity, whatever, take it. You know, and they sold it for peanuts or whatever. And it's just one of those licenses that's like, oh yeah, we get to keep using it as long as we want, you know.
That is on my Christmas list. If my wife is gonna listen to this, babe, I want that V3 box set.
It's a good set. It's nice. I mean, it's good quality. You know, there are Blu-rays out for it now, but, you know, it's the DVD set's well worth it.
Honestly, if we got Kamen Rider box sets, would you feel comfortable paying $153 for each set?
If we were getting an entire series in one go, probably. If they were splitting them up the same way they do them in Japan, I'd honestly have a hard time doing that, just because I've already imported so many of them that it's like spending the same amount just to get some subtitles added. I mean, it's like, yeah, I should to support it, but it's tough.
So you're such a nerd, which I mean that with much love, because so am I, which I'm going to start doing. You need to explain this process to me, because I got the Panzer Galleon. I got the Panzer Galleon Blu-ray box set coming, and I want to put English subtitles onto the Blu-ray disc. How did you get into that? Because I know OSC, right? Or there's a subgroup that does.
Oh, there's the writer group, OZC. Yeah,
OZC,
yeah. So I use their subtitles for my my writer discs, just because they're already dealing with Blu-ray stuff, so it's honestly just a matter of convenience. I mean, I know enough about it because, kind of funny enough, back to the anime thing, we use the same subtitling software for Diskotek that most fan subbers use.
It's
called
cool.
Aegis Sub, and I don't know that Funimation or any of the other companies use it, but however Justin authors his discs, he can take these scripts written for this program and converts them, and they're Blu-ray compatible. So I have an advantage in that I know how the software works because I use it all the time. So I can take those fan sub scripts, and all I do is I just extract the files off of the Blu-rays and throw them on my media server and just tack the subtitles on. I just readjust them, make sure they're all timed out right, and throw them together. There's a way to put them back onto disc and actually burn them to blanks, but blank BDs cost quite a bit, and I just don't want to spend that kind of money when I have a 18 terabyte media server that can
holy shit. So do you have your own Plex server set up?
Yeah.
That's what I'm also gonna be doing.
NAS that's a Plex server, because I do IT by day. That's my day job. So
okay.
It's just kind of my thing.
So you're busy all the time, just working all the time. Where do you,
pretty much? Yeah.
When do you find, like, I have the same problem. How do you find time to yourself to focus on your hobby?
So, I mean, Friday nights, I always, with few exceptions, I always go, because I live on the North Shore of Lake Tahoe, so, northern Nevada. So I'm 40 minutes away from Reno.
Oh,
so
wow.
When, on Friday nights, I go to Reno, I get sushi with my friends. We go to the movies. We'll see, whatever. I mean, we'll see, whatever crap movie. We tend to, rotate between who picks what movie we're seeing. We saw Zombieland 2 last week.
Was that good?
It was good. I wasn't as good as the first one. Thought it was still a good sequel. So,
okay.
And then I work 6 days a week on my main day job. So, I'm there Monday through Saturday. And so Sunday's really my only day off. It's what I do. Really, what I just do is when I get home, I'll, throw something on and, play, watch an episode or two of something for, an hour or so. Tonight I'm looking forward to the new Ace Combat DLC is out. So
Ace Combat 7
that tonight. Yeah.
Dude, that was such a good
DLC
game.
Just came out.
That was such a good game.
It was
such a phenomenal
I've been an
game.
Ace Combat fan for years.
And I liked how they gave you 5 for free, which was awesome. So let's talk about games briefly. What are some of your favorite games? So
generally, either RPGs or first-person shooters are probably my most go-to. Halo, that kind of stuff. The Final Fantasy series, I've been playing that for I can't remember how long.
Yeah.
I'll play kind of just whatever suits my fancy. I'll play racing games.
You should check out. I mean, this is I talked about this on Twitter. You should get this Trails of Cold Steel series.
I've been seeing people talking about it on Twitter, and I haven't.
Probably the best JRPG series of easily the last 10 years. It's just
nice.
Which I'm kind of pissed about. I'm gonna vent for a second because this really made me mad. The first 2 editions were like, I think, $10 more than like a normal price game, which is fine, but you got a really nice steel book. You got like a pin, like a coin, which I was fine. So they did that for the first 2, and then the third one is just a standard. Which is priced the same price as the other ones. You do get a soundtrack CD, which is nice, and like a really thick booklet. But to get the steelbook, you have to pay $100 and something directly from NIS America. And I was like, I'm like, and I'm not even like a stickler about like people in the manga world, like when they're like when Viz changes their logos, everybody freaks out about their spines being misaligned. I'm not even a stickler for that, but that really annoyed the shit out of me. So
I know the feeling.
So Halo was definitely one of the things I fell in love with too at a very, very young age, which I could totally see Halo being like a tokusatsu show. It's like
work.
It would totally work with the with all the monsters being in like rubber suits. I could totally see that.
Definitely.
So what's been your favorite anime of the last handful of years?
I mean, last handful of years?
Probably 5.
Jeez.
Mine's probably gonna be Gridman.
Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously the Toku
really
overlap.
Really good.
I mean, if I didn't go with that, I'd probably pick Steins Gate Zero just because I love the Steins Gate franchise, and I was so excited to see the sequel / spinoff to that. So that's probably been my favorite thing to watch.
Probably I would say Gridman, and then Pro Mare was pretty damn good.
Was great.
It was so good. I don't know if you heard my episode with Zach, but Zach was raving about it, just talking about how much he loved it. I think it's probably the best movie I've seen this year. But granted, I don't get out and see movies that much. I've seen Godzilla and John Wick, I think, are the only other movies I've seen in theaters. Which my wife hated Godzilla. She hated. Actually, it's really funny. My wife has put up with the manga. She's put up with the anime. And she's put up with the games. Like, she'll let me play games as long as she's on the couch with me. She doesn't mind. But if it's tokusatsu, she's like, I want to rip my eyes out. I want to kill you. And I'm like, well, babe, you're screwed because this month we got Ultraman. We got the Godzilla Criterion Collection. Right. We got Message from Space. And she's just like, but I keep watching Juspian, which, God, that fucking show is so good.
It is.
It's so good.
I hope we can get more Metal Heroes.
Oh, I'm praying. Yeah.
I would absolutely love to. I mean, at this point, I'll take almost anything we can get because the more we can get, as long as it keeps selling, hopefully we can keep getting it. But I would love to see more Metal Heroes stuff.
At this point, I've bought 3 Juspian Blu-rays, just to like give to friends and to support Diskotek, obviously. But man, that is I don't know what it is. That show, it just nails everything I love about Tokusatsu. It's actually got a plot, which is pretty good. Right. It's got a really awesome bad guy's name, Satan Gorth, like just so fucking so awesome. Good. And then the theme song is just so catchy. Whenever I make my wife mad, I will play the main theme to that show, and she is just like. So let's talk about some of your other passions. You're a huge Gundam fan.
Yes.
And After War X is your favorite.
X is my favorite.
X is your favorite. So and I just know that because we talked about it on Twitter. X is your favorite, and then you're also a huge Lupin fan, as you can tell right there in the camera. You got a nice stack of Lupin figures, a beautiful stack of Lupin figures. Holy shit, man, dude, your room is like a heaven.
Yeah, this is my office. It's it's kind of one of those like see if I can.
Oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah, like it's one of those, I had to get somewhere where I could put, my stuff, and because I have a 4-year-old niece that lives with me. Aww. And so she knows the office is off limits. You can make a mess out of the living room, you can do whatever you want in the rest of the house, just don't touch Uncle Logan's office.
So and, do you show her some stuff? Like, do you show her Tokusatsu? Because my kids watch Juspian with me, and she like actually sits there and just like she'll dance to the theme song, and she'll like get like kind of like happy when stuff happens. But I try to oh, and also some of the stuff you guys put out, like Kimono Friends. My daughter loved that. She calls any animal
my
dog
niece
dog.
Adores Kimono Friends. She was super excited because it's one of those things. Luckily she's a 4-year-old, so despite the implied NDAs and whatnot, there are certain things where I can be like, who's a 4-year-old gonna tell? They're not gonna know anything. So when we were doing some final mix checking for the dub mix, they asked me to check a couple things because usually when we do quality control, if one person's already worked on something, if we have to go back to it, we'll usually hand it off to somebody else just to, get another perspective on it. And so there were a few issues with the dub mix on the first check. So they asked me to take a look or listen to a few of the episodes. So I let her watch the first 4 episodes with me. And I was so glad that the discs ended up shipping almost a month early because she would not shut up about it.
That's awesome.
And I mean, she just adores it. In fact, Marissa Lenti, she was the director for the dub. She's going to be at a convention in Reno next month. And when I mentioned, I was like, hey, you know, one of the people that worked on Kimono Friends, I want to meet her. I want to meet her. Like she is just all excited now. So I'm probably going to take her down for that. But
that's awesome.
You know, so yeah, I'll let her watch. You know, she loves Banana.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I got the Banana Blu-ray signed at Crunchyroll Expo last year by the original artist for Banana.
That's awesome.
So I got it signed and autographed for my niece.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I can't wait till my daughter's a little bit older because she's not even 2 yet, but she's almost 2, and I can't wait to like put some like just impose some of my nerdiness onto her. Just like you have to watch Kamen Rider with Dad, or else I'm gonna be mad. But Kamen Rider's been getting kind of dark.
It has, yeah.
Like 01's got like some themes going on about like families, like what it means to be a family, and like what it means to be human. And it's just like I'm like watching it and I'm like, yeah, I mean this is fine for adults, but like for a child, because this is aimed for kids,
right?
And which is so funny because every time my like wife sees a Kamen Rider show, she's just like, this is for children. You are. I'm like, yeah, so what? Who cares? I'm a child. She actually says like when people ask her, hey, do you have more than one kid? She's like, yeah, I got 2. My husband and my daughter.
Right.
So I'm sorry, Tay. Yeah, you're stuck with me legally. So how did you get into all this? Because you said your background is IT. Did you have any like fan sub experience, or just like were you just in those circles, or was it just like luck?
I mean, it was like I said, it was just basically luck. I mean, you know, Mark, like I mentioned him before. You know, we just met. It was I remember where we were talking. I was talking in there's like a Facebook group or something, and I said something about one of the Cowboy Bebop remix Blu-rays that Bandai or the DVDs that Bandai put out years ago.
What are those exactly? The remix?
So all they were the exact same old video masters as the original Bebop release, but they had the audio remixed in a 5.1.
Okay.
So while Japan had an actual remastered where they scanned the show in HD, we didn't have that. Like when they did the remix DVDs, it was just the old video with the new audio. Well, I mistakenly said, somewhere in this group, I was like, oh yeah, the remix discs are the remastered version. Well, Mark comes in and goes, no, they're not. They're just the same old thing. And I'm like, are you sure? One thing led to another. We're chatting with each other, and so we became friends. And like I said, years later, it was he kind of just was like, hey, can we help on these comics? And that was it. I did have some experience with some of the subtitling software because at one time, it was around 2008, I was out of work for a while. And just because 2008, the economy went to crap.
Yeah. I mean, people stopped buying pizza too. It was a rough year.
Yeah, so I was out of work because I'd taken a new job, and unfortunately, it opened at the wrong time, and so I was out of work for 8 or 9 months, and I found myself in just kind of a bad place. I shut myself in, and so I was tinkering around with I had a bunch of imported discs, like I'd imported the Gundam Wing remasters where they'd done the same thing. They scanned it in HD but stuck it on DVD. So I had these discs, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to, add the subtitles to it. And then the same thing happened. The Gundam 00 dub was coming out, and we weren't getting the Blu-rays over here. And, one thing led to another. I found some bootlegs and started downloading those and tacking subtitles onto those. And it just kind of turned into one of those things where I was practicing on this stuff. And then I got back to work at, I actually got my job back at the place I originally worked at, which was nice. And I've been back there for, 10 and a half, 11 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been nice. Luckily I left on good terms. So it was, once an opening came up, it was not hard to get my foot back in. So I had experience with kind of adding subtitles and messing with the software. So once the opportunity came along, it was just easy to, settle into it because I already kind of knew what I was doing. I just had to adapt what I was doing as, slapdash work to making sure that I was doing it right so that it didn't screw up on Blu-ray.
So when you did eventually work with, with Mark and Robert, did you have to like show them anything? Like, hey, this is some stuff I've done for myself, privately, or was it all just like?
No, basically it was, when it came to dealing with that comic stuff, it was just, Mark had said, hey, these could look better. And it turned into, well, put your money where your mouth is. And so Mark just said, hey, give me a hand with this. And so we just turned it in. And then when Otaku no Video was spinning up, we just threw our hats back in and said, hey, we want to do this again. And so we did just art cleanup. And then
Robert's so nice.
Subtitles. Yeah, Robert's great.
Robert's great. I mean, I've been wanting to do this style of content for a while, because I enjoy talking to people, especially people that have the same interests as me. And I messaged Robert on Twitter, and he messaged back like a couple of days later and was like ready to go. I was like, hell yeah! Like, and then of course that opened up doors. I got to talk to Justin and Zach, and then you, and just like seriously, Robert is one of the coolest people. I don't know if you've seen that episode, but he ended up giving me like a whole tour of his house. Like, he's just like he's super passionate about what he does. He had an art cell for I think a Ghibli movie, holding a door open. Like, it was like the door. I was like, he was like, yeah, I should probably hang this up, and I was like, you could just have that, just propping open a door.
Well, it was so cool working with him because, and working with Justin, it's a lot of the same thing. It's, people that have been in the industry for as long as they have. I mean, Robert has managed to weather so many storms through the industry. I mean, AnimEigo, granted, it's not to the level of any of the companies. I mean, even Diskotek, now it's a very niche boutique publisher, but, Robert hasn't gotten to where he is and stayed where he is without knowing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so getting my foot in the door with somebody like him and learning, some of his stuff, I find myself privileged, to work with people like him and people like Justin. And, it's just, I'm lucky. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I find myself lucky, working with these people. And, I got to meet Justin in person finally after working for him for 2 years at Anime Expo this year. And in fact, funny enough, having known Mark for over a decade, we'd never met in person until Anime Expo. And
how did you guys just have a good time?
Oh yeah, it was a blast. First time I'd been to Anime Expo. I'm not going back next year. I'm going to Otakon next year.
I'm trying to go to Otakon, man.
Yeah.
If I go, beer's on me. Like, I've been wanting to go for a while, and I get to take 2 weeks off a year, just because when the restaurant, when we're not there, like the family's not there, the restaurant's not open.
Right.
So, we get 2 weeks off. 1 week is cleaning, and 1 week is get to do whatever we want. And I'm like, it's during that time. It's during that same period we're always off. But if I go, my wife would want to go. So I'm thinking about maybe going to Otakon. Especially, Diskotek has those legendary panels.
Well, and then, funny enough, that's part of why I wanted to go. It was like, I got to meet Selby at Anime Expo. I got to meet Justin. I met Mike Toole at Crunchyroll Expo last year. I really wanted to get to meet Brady in person because, he's always there. And, it's basically it's Diskotek's home convention. So, there's a bit of that I want to go to. And, I'd gone to DC a couple of times in January, the last couple of years for Awesome Games Done Quick, the speedrunning events. And this past year, unfortunately, as you might remember, we had that big government shutdown.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that I'd planned to do, I was going to go to the Air and Space Museum. I was going to go to, a few of the different Smithsonian branches. Couldn't go to any of it because it was all shut down. So then, of course, GDQ announced, we're moving to Orlando next year. So I was like, well, if I go to Otakon, then I can go to DC, spend a week out there, do the convention, take a couple extra days, do the stuff I didn't get to do before. So I'm gonna end up doing that, and then my January vacation, I'm going to Anime Los Angeles, which works out really good because it turns out Robert and Natsumi are going to be there.
That's
so
cool.
I'll finally get to meet them in person.
So how is Justin in real life? Is he as beautiful as he is on camera?
Indeed, he is.
He's a big guy, right? He's like 6 something. Because I'm short. I'm like 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Justin and I are about the same height. So.
Jesus, everyone's bigger than me. It's fucking Italian genes, man.
No, we did a Diskotek team dinner, and it was the first night. He took us to, I guess, his favorite Korean barbecue place, and it's funny because he was busting my chops because he made some tweet one day about, he went to the gym and just couldn't concentrate, went home and ate a bundle of asparagus, and it just made me laugh. Later that night, it was a Friday, so I went to my favorite sushi place, and they have this tempura asparagus roll. So I took a picture of it, and I'm like, oh, hey, Justin mentioned asparagus, and it's been in my mind all day. And he's like, is that a long roll with asparagus? And I'm like, what? I'm 300 miles inland. What am I supposed to do? Sushi's not, I'm not in a foodie town. I'm in freaking Reno.
Yeah.
And so when he said, oh, let's go to this place. And I'm like, yeah, now you can show me what real food's like, because I'm just a mountain hick that doesn't know real food.
One of the funniest things he said when I talked to him was just real casually too. And I didn't catch it until the second watch through after I put it out, was he's just talking. He goes, I like food almost sexually. And then just kept going, just like without missing it. So how is Selby in person? Because he's kind of like, just like Justin said, he's like a recluse. Like doesn't.
It's funny because I didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know who he was or anything. And every time I'd gone by the booth, he hadn't been there. And I just lucked out. Like the last time I went to the booth on Sunday, the vendor hall was about to close in like 10 minutes. I just went up to the booth and I'm like, hey, is Selby around? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Selby. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Logan. And, I mean, we talked for a couple of minutes, but, I get the impression that, he's the kind of guy that just wants to stick behind the scenes, run the booth when he's at a convention, and just, he's content cruising along. And,
Justin said he doesn't even like putting his name on the credits.
It's just, I guess that's just the way he is, but,
which is cool.
I mean, it's,
honestly,
it's the same thing as Robert. He weathered that storm where we saw, Genion die, ADV die.
Yeah, that's the thing I was telling him about him. I was like, you guys are the last of the old.
But it's like, he weathered that storm just the same as Robert did. It's one of those things where, clearly they know what they're doing and they're doing something right, because, that was a tough time for the industry and they survived it.
Yeah, Diskotek's been what, 15 years almost.
Something around that,
which is fucking nuts. Yeah, which is crazy. And I mean, it's just crazy to like look at like what they started putting out. You know what I mean? Like the old like what's that movie? I just got it too. It's McHider, Robo Death Beneath Club Layla. Have you seen this?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like just really bizarre out there. Just really just left field stuff. And then, they get into anime, and the stuff that they put out anime wise is like, not like, I feel like Diskotek's important because as a physical media whore, like, as you can tell, like those are all manga. I got 2 more shelves right here. I had like 2,500 volumes of manga, or something like that. So as a physical media whore, and also as somebody who's afraid of like you guys have saved stuff, like Cyborg 009 would have probably been lost to time.
Yeah, that show would not, if it hadn't been dealt with when we dealt with it, given another couple of years, I think Justin said exactly that. Given another couple of years, those tapes would have gone to complete trash. They would have been lost and ruined. And I mean, that would have been it. I mean, maybe somebody would have found old VHS captures or something, but even with as many little visual problems and stuff as the show has, what you get now is the best you're ever gonna see.
So I watched all of that in one day. I watched which is too much. Like, I like Cyborg 009, but that is too much for one day, is watching that show all in one go. But I was sitting on the couch, I was playing Fire Emblem, the newest one, and I was just watching it in the background, and considering what Justin had to go through to get that show looking as good as it does, it's a miracle that it even looks halfway that good.
Oh yeah, it should not look as good as it does, quite frankly.
Which is why Justin is a fucking wizard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen the upscale for Galaxy Express 39, the TV series set, and the movie set, the first two movies. Toei scrubbed the crap out of the grain on those.
And Justin added grain.
Yeah,
and it looks great.
And Justin added it back, and I guess it was quite an undertaking, but it turned out looking so good. And the series, the upscale that he's given it, compared to what I've seen of Japanese Blu-rays, it's night and day. I mean, granted, it's no substitute for an actual proper HD transfer. Like, would I love to see a true HD transfer of it? Absolutely. Is it going to happen for 113 episodes through Toei? Probably not. But the upscale that Justin did, I mean, the guy is an absolute wizard.
He is a wizard.
I don't know how he does some of the things he does with video. I mean,
we were talking on Twitter, and he said that the Bobobo release was also a big pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So, like, it just sounds like you guys, like, again, biggest year for you guys, content-wise, the stuff you guys are putting out.
Yeah.
Biggest pain in the ass-wise, also, for the projects. And then also the warehouse thing. Disaster. Yeah. So, like, again, this has been, like, a huge year, good and bad, for you guys. Like, just Diskotek has just been...
Yeah,
it's been a roller coaster.
That warehouse thing, it's just, it feels like it's been one little thing after another. And I mean, I only know of it, secondarily through, whatever Justin has told us. And, he's basically told the public the same thing we know.
Yeah.
And it's just been such an absolute mess. And,
man, I could not imagine.
Hopefully the end is in sight. I mean, hopefully the end is in sight. And, luckily it seems like at least new stuff is getting into stores, which is good.
Which is great. And it's also shipping a month early almost. Like, Justby was at my house like a full month before it was supposed to come out. And I was like so ecstatic.
Stuff that we got Monday, that's like 2 weeks in advance of release.
Which is making me hopeful that Giant Robo will be here before Christmas.
I'm hoping it will too, because, I want to get it in hand because, like I said, I'm going to Anime Los Angeles, and the Claypools that oversaw the dub are going to be there, and I would love to get them to sign it, especially something I worked on to get the, somebody that dubbed it to sign it, that's just kind of cool.
And what I like too is that you have an IMDb page. Now, did you set that up yourself?
No. So early on when we did the Bubblegum Crisis project as a Christmas/New Year's gift to the production team, Robert created that page and for each of us and added us. Then he'd added a couple other entries, stuff that we worked on. I managed to get some of my stuff added on there, but IMDb's moderators are very
picky.
I can't really think of how to put it. Picky, I guess. It's weird because, like, if you look at my page, I've got the 48 episodes of Kimagure Orange Road on there, but I can't get the OVAs in the movie, even though I did the exact same thing for that.
That is pretty weird.
Because I submit it and they go, oh no, this isn't eligible to be added. It's like, well, then why are there 48 episodes of the series where I did the exact same thing? Why am I eligible for that?
And then you've also worked on, I mean, I'm just looking at your IMDb page right now. You've done Writing Bean.
Yep.
You've worked on Robot Carnival, Barefoot Gin, Fist of the North Star, Barefoot Gin 2, Bubblegum Crisis. Like, we've already talked about all that. But you guys have just, I mean, you've worked on some pretty important shows. Robot Carnival, too. Like,
all I did on that was I just proofread the liner note slides, but it's one of those things. It's even doing little things. It's I note it down. I've gotta tag it because hey, I worked on it.
So, is there anything, not to spoil the release schedule, but is there like a couple things coming up next year that you're just like insanely excited about?
There's definitely one, and I can't even talk like anything about it because, it would unfortunately give away too much about what it is. But there is a title that I've seen on the schedule that I'm super excited for. I can say it's a classic, and it's going to be a whole new lease on life for something that I think a lot of people will like. Yeah, it's like I said, it's hard to say more than that, but it's yeah, I think people will be happy with that.
I'm still waiting on Psycho Armor Govarian.
Govarian, yeah.
Which Justin just sent me a clip of one of your guys' going through. Did you see that thing where like there was a hand like physically animating one of the slides?
I hadn't heard that, but Mark had just mentioned to me.
Funny.
I think he might be doing the QC on it, because I thought I heard somebody mention that recently.
I was laughing so much when I saw that, because because like he sent me this and he goes, "Hey, I think that you would like this," and deep down I was like, "Is it an episode or something?" I was like so excited, and then I click on it and I was watching it and I was like, "What was that?" And then slow-mo, it's literally just a production person's hand moving the slide, animating it. Just, oh man,
That's great.
But you guys, I mean, also a thing I talked about on Twitter that you guys put out, which is like another favorite release of mine, Starfleet. You guys are just like, that's just so, man. You guys this year, seriously, the Wizard of Oz Blu-ray, Starfleet, just like Voltus 5. Godmars was last year, but it hasn't been a full year. It was like at the end of last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, some of the stuff I see on the schedule, even, it's like, you look at it and you're like, what? I don't know what possessed Selby to grab some of these titles, but they're welcome. Like that's the thing, is you look at them and you're like, what was it that made him think like, I want this? But at the same time, it's like, people are going to want to watch this, so I guess
Justin said the exact same thing. He was like some of the stuff that is up and coming is just like, what? Like, why?
Yeah, like I don't get it either.
So
and it's like,
I mean, not to get too inside baseball, but does Selby like handpick stuff himself?
As far as I know, I mean, I don't know if it's one of those, like, you want this show, you're going to take this stuff with it.
Yeah, that's what I was also wondering too. Is like, do you guys?
Yeah, I that gets more into the production side that I don't have the inside line on. That's something more that Justin would know about.
It's kind of like when was it Funimation that put out Zillion? It's like, where the fuck did they get that? Like that had to have been like a bundle deal.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's like, I look at stuff like, Sentai released Big O, and it's like they announced all of those.
A lot of Sunrise shows.
Yeah, they announced a lot of Sunrise shows, a bunch that I want, like King Gainer. I love that show because I love Tomino's work. And, like, they announced all those shows, and they've done nothing with any of them except for Big O, which, don't get me wrong, Big O's my favorite anime of all time. I'm excited that we got it. But where's the rest of the stuff,
So, from what I understand is that someone asked them at Anime Expo, maybe, that it was all Sunrise. Like they still want to put it out, but Sunrise just doesn't want to.
Which, the thing for me, and this is one of those where it goes back to, this is the fan in me spitballing, where it's like, I don't have enough of an inside line to know, but you have to wonder about something like that, because it's like, King Gainer, Zega Pain, a bunch of the shows they got have Blu-rays in Japan and have for 6 or 7 years.
Which is what I'm starting to do, because Sunrise is one of my favorite studios. So I just started. I'm gonna start importing old stuff like Zambot 3. I mean, and then just old shit that's never probably gonna come out here, and just subtitle it myself.
What's weird to me about it is you look at stuff like Space Runaway Edeon.
Yeah, and the fact that we got that, or a double, or a battle of Dumbine and Zabungle.
It was like, they were going to do the SDBD, and then everybody was like, "Why are you doing an SDBD when it's it's available in HD?" And then they rolled that back and said, "Okay, we'll delay it. We'll do it in proper HD," and they did. And that's a Sunrise show. So it's like, how did you get that from Sunrise in a 6-month turnaround? But you haven't been able to get those shows you licensed 7 years ago. I don't get it.
I have a theory, is because Sunrise is starting to publish their own stuff out here. So I have a theory that they're kind of just like holding out, because like Justin said, the average license is like 7 years. It's been almost 7 years since they've announced that. So, but I mean, like, the fact that, like, we've been getting a lot of Sunrise stuff lately. Like,
Yeah.
like almost every Gundam release is on Blu-ray.
Yeah, the fact that we've got as much Gundam as we do, I honestly never thought I'd see that.
Yeah, I never thought too. Like it seems like every month I'm buying a new Gundam Blu-ray to just fill out the collection to to continue. And like, I mean, even some of the worst Gundam series, like Reconquista and G or Recon.
Oh, see, that's my second favorite.
Really?
Come on. Yes.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it because I remember not liking that.
It's not paced well. That's the thing. It tried to do 50 episodes worth of material in 26 episodes and didn't do a good job of it. I'm waiting to see how well the movies will end up doing, because when you think about it, it's like the show is already kind of badly paced, and now you're going to shove the same amount of material into 5 movies. I don't know that that's going to work.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now, did they do anything else with that whole project that they were doing? Like the 3 films that were going to be like combining universes? Wasn't NT the first one?
I mean, all they've released is that, but it didn't have any kind of crossover aspect to it. So
I really want to see that.
They're releasing the Reconquista movie. The Blu-rays for that come out in like January, I think it is.
Here in the States?
Yeah, well, we're getting the imported one, so we probably won't get a collected version until all 5 are out, if I had to guess.
Which Right Stuff's company, Naizomi Entertainment, is that right?
Yeah, Nozomi's. Whatever.
They do phenomenal jobs on their Gundam
yeah.
releases. I got the Wing 00, Fighter. All the big box sets. Those are incredible. And then Seed got pushed back.
I was at both the Anime Expo panel where they announced that it was delayed, and then I was at the Crunchyroll Expo panel where they kind of reiterated, they're like, yeah, it's delayed, sorry.
I actually just found I like a month ago I won a lot on eBay for Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny for like I think below $100. So like all the DVDs. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm gonna finally, even though that is probably everyone's least favorite Gundam series, it still holds a special place in my heart.
I know for Bandai, it was always among like Bebop, Wing, and Seed were like their top 3 sellers. And the way I look at it is Sunrise probably would not have spent the money to do this whole redub if they didn't think Seed was going to keep selling the way it did before.
Now, because they did say I'm in a Facebook group where the owner of Right Stuff's in. Which is weird because he randomly chimes in every once in a while. And I didn't know it was him when I said, hey, what's up with that Gundam Seed Blu-ray? This is before it announced that it was pushed back to next year. He commented and was like, next year. And I'm wondering, are they going to include the old dub and the new dub? Because then things will be out of sync, right?
Well, according to what they've said, because I actually posted in a thread on Blu-ray.com's forum about this. So according to what they said is they're in the Ultimate Editions, they're going to include the old dub. Somebody did say at their Crunchyroll panel, they mentioned doing an SDBD for another show. So I'm kind of wondering if they won't do an SDBD for the old Seed dub. But really, yeah, that's the problem, is the only way to get that to sync up is you really can't. Because the problem is they've cut scenes, they've reanimated scenes, they've taken stuff that was in the old Seed compilation movies, so an altered stuff. And so the problem is, short of having the original unmixed audio, there's no way to sync everything up. You can do it, but you've got these weird, awkward hard cuts in the audio, and it doesn't work out.
Do you think they're going to include Destiny in the Ultimate box set?
I think we'll probably see 2 separate Ultimate sets, just because both shows are 50 episodes. So yeah. I figure we'll see, we'll probably see a single Ultimate set for Seed that hopefully will include the 3 movies, the old dub, and the remastered version, and then same thing for Destiny.
I'm just glad that we're getting more Gundam. I mean, as picky as I'm sounding right now, because I do want everything to be in one box set, but the fact that we're even getting more Gundam is pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean we're like I've looked at Bandai's own like Japanese website in comparison to what we have, and with the exception of like the Turn A movies and a handful of like some of the SD stuff.
We don't have the Turn A movies?
We have the Turn A movies on DVD. They didn't re-release them on Blu-ray, and
we have the show on Blu-ray, right?
We had the show on
Okay.
Blu-ray, but yeah, we don't have the compilation, which, most Gundam compilations aren't that good to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like whatever. But yeah, just, the amount of Gundam that we have now, if you told me, 10 years ago that, oh yeah, hey, all this stuff that Bandai's not bringing over like 00, yeah, we're going to get that. We're going to get Wing. We're going to get all this stuff. I wouldn't have believed it.
But now here we are. We have Wing and 00 and
yeah, we've got almost everything at this point.
That's why I'm holding out hope for Kamen Rider. Like
it would be
I
nice.
have so many bootlegs of Kamen Rider. Like I have so many, and I did with Ultraman too. But the moment they got announced, that they're officially licensed, I'm putting my cash where my mouth is, and I'm gonna, I'm buying them. But I'm still holding out for Kamen Rider because, man, I fucking I want it so bad.
Well, it's every time the franchise has had such, stops and starts. I mean, like I said, we had Saban's Masked Rider, went nowhere. We had, Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, went nowhere. We had Media Blasters released Masked Rider the First, that weird 2005 reboot movie of the original series. We never even got the sequel to that. We've got Amazons on Amazon Prime, but still, we haven't gotten the finale movie, so it's like, great, I've watched 2 seasons, I can't watch the finale, and it's on Amazon Prime, give me a disc.
Even with Ultraman, like a lot of it's on Crunchyroll, like a good chunk of it. So like being a Kamen Rider fan is just, you have to be illegal. You just have to.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, absent a legal method to do it, like, I get it, I mean, I'm right there with everybody else, it sucks to have to resort to that, but it's not like we're doing it because we want to. It's the only choice we have if we want to watch it. And, I'm the first person to say, if the moment I can buy it, I will. Like, I am there.
Do you think it's just because the license is too expensive?
I don't know. I mean, I would have probably assumed that up until we started getting the Super Sentai releases, but that also kind of goes back to Saban had their hands in that, and of course, the licensing arrangement that lets them use the footage and all that stuff. It's hard to say. It probably is just, it might be a fear on Toei's part because it hasn't done well the last couple times they've tried it.
Yeah, but they've tried to Americanize it. You know what I mean? Like, just put out, just even if it's DVDs, just even if you guys don't do anything to them, just put official subtitles on it, put it out. Because like I have the bootlegs, even though the subtitles are fucking awful, the quality is awful. It's just something special about putting in a disc,
right?
Sitting down and just having that show physically,
right? You
know what I mean? And actually, out of all the bootlegs, Build is probably the best one I have, just probably because it's the newest one I have. Right. But I'm gonna start importing. I think that's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, it's like, same thing with Amazons. It's great, we've got it. Okay, they changed the title to Amazon Riders instead of Kamen Rider Amazons, but at least we have it to some extent. Now it's just a matter of let's get it on the disc so that because that's I love streaming. It's so convenient. It's great, but I don't like the idea of, oh, great, some license expired. Now I can't watch this show that I love anymore.
I mean, that's the thing.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, like, that's why I have so many fucking Blu-rays, and that's why I don't buy ebooks. And, like for instance, like, a lot of manga publishers, like, are doing this digital first thing, where if it sells well, they'll put it out physically. And it's like, I don't want to have to buy something digitally on a format that I don't like, that I hate. I hate reading digitally. And like, as cool as it is to have HBO Go and Netflix, there's just something special about having a stack of Blu-rays that is just catered to your taste. And eventually I'm going to build my own Plex server, just because I want to be able to just pop my phone open and be like, all right, we're time to watch Mazinger Z Impact. Just just like off the top of my head, I don't know why Mazinger's in my brain, but
well, and it's nice having the media server because you know, that's the thing is, like I said, it makes it easier to kind of bridge the gap between, you know, I've got all these Rider Blu-rays, but, you know, I can put them in my Blu-ray player, but they've got no subs. So, you know, I can rip them off the disc, and yeah, it's a digital version, but I also don't have to recompress them or anything. And I mean, yeah, it takes up a lot of space, but, you know, I'm still getting almost the disc experience, but I'm getting the usability aspect of it. You know, I tweeted about it a week or so ago, and I did that with a bunch of my 4K imports because I've got Char's Counterattack and F91.
Those are on 4K?
Those are on 4K. So for Gundam 4Ks, they've got Char's Counterattack, F91, the two Thunderbolts movies, and Gundam NT.
Talking to you is bad for my wallet.
Yeah, the Thunderbolts have dub and subs because they're what we've kind of termed the premium OVA, where, you know, it's a worldwide release kind of thing. So those had dub and subs on the 4K. NT, they advertised it as not having those, and then it turned out the 4K had it, which was great because it meant I didn't have to do anything with it. But and then the 00 movie is also on 4K.
Damn.
But 00, Char's Counterattack, and F91, despite the dubs existing, subtitles existing, all that, they don't have any of that stuff on the disc.
That's annoying.
So what I had to turn around and do is I took the Nozomi discs, ripped the audio and the subs from them, and then ripped the 4Ks because I happen to have a drive that's able to read 4K discs and break the encryption, which is kind of nice. And, you know, granted, I have to, you know, make room for 100 gigs on my media server per disc, or, you know, somewhere thereabouts.
Holy shit.
But put the audio, put the video, put it all together, throw it on the media server, and just watch it. So,
100 gigs per disc?
I think most of those tend to skew around 65 to 70, but I think my Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence disc is like 94 gigs all said and done.
Wow. Why? Yeah. Is it because of all the CG?
It's just, you know, 4K. The thing is that, you know, I think it's once they get to a certain point, because 4K discs are either 66 gigs or 100 gigs.
Damn.
And I think once they clear that 66 gig mark, they just pump a bunch of bit rate into it because, hey, you're paying for a 100 gig disc either way. You might as well use it.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, PS5's gonna have 100 gig discs. Is what they announced.
You know, so the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X have the 4K drives now, but Microsoft, because they can't count on anybody actually guaranteed to have that because of the original Xbox One, they don't actually ship any discs that use those. They're just strictly for 4K.
That's nuts.
Next gen, they'll all be able to use the 4K drives. So Sony will be able to use a 100 gig disc. Microsoft will be able to do it, you know.
Well, man, let's go and wrap this up because this is, holy shit, hour and a half. Oh my God. I didn't realize that we've been talking that long. This has been an absolute blast. You're more than welcome to come on again, man. Seriously.
Absolutely, I'd love to.
Just so tell people where they can find you on Twitter and stuff.
So my Twitter account is Schmullus1. That's SCHMULLUS1. That's pretty much it. I don't really use Discord all that much. I don't use many, you know, instant messaging, but yeah, hit me up on Twitter, and you know, you'll see my name in the credits on your favorite Diskotek title, hopefully.
And guys, go show them some support. Go show Diskotek some support, and we will see you guys next time on the FlipCast.